partnership dissolution. Hi, I'm Brian Pombo. Welcome back to Brian J. Pombo Live. I'm a business investor, and one of the things when you're dealing with people on a regular basis, there's going to be a point at which you need to cut ties. And we call this dissolution when you're talking about a partner. You're ending a contract. And I know a lot of people that this could be applied to anything, right? This isn't just, when you're partners in an investment, partners in a company and so forth. This you're dealing with the same thing whether you're talking about letting an employee go, whether you're talking about ending a marriage. It's a dissolution. You're ending a contract. You're ending something that oftentimes the toughest ones are the ones where you have the closest relationship, where you're still friends to some level, or you at least were really good friends at one point. And how do you go about doing that? What are the things you have to keep in mind? And I think the main thing to keep in mind above all else would be the third pillar of brianjpombo.com. And that third pillar has to do with being reality grounded. What are the elements of being reality grounded? The main element of being reality grounded is being non-emotional. And it doesn't mean that you don't have emotions. It doesn't mean that you're a robot, but you have to be separate from your emotions. You have to be outside of your emotions. So there's going to be emotions involved probably. If not from you, there might be from the other person. And you have to be able to be distant from it so that you can make clear decisions and you can react properly when dealing with the other person, especially if it's a partnership where one partner doesn't want to dissolve the partnership, whereas you do. So where do you go from there? The first step, if you're non-emotional, then you're more reality grounded than anybody can be, or than anybody else would be. And so if you could just keep that distance away from your emotions and just get a sense for what's going on, what's really happening behind the scenes. And then you got to take things step by step. And you got to think of what are all the options, what are all the ways that the reaction can happen when you're in the process of dissolving. And is it mutual? If it isn't mutual, then you gotta look at all the different pieces. Oftentimes there's a legal piece involved in that. And so you have to involve a lawyer. You have to involve any type of legal support that you have, any advice that you can have, any mentors that you could bring on board, people who have been through something similar that you can talk to, and people that you trust, right? So you got to really keep in mind that legal end. Then you got to keep in mind whether you have been clear across the board. So you've got to keep good records across the board if at all possible. You've got to keep all the records of what happened when. Sometimes it helps to have kind of an email chain or a text chain going so that you have dates and times where everything is being handled. And you got to consider all options. You have to consider, what if things really don't happen your way and you end up with, let's say you're dissolving the partnership in a business. If you're keeping the business, they're keeping the business. What happens if it just completely tears up and the business is dissolved along with it, where you may not want that to happen, or maybe you do want it to happen, but you got to consider, what if the opposite of what you want to happen occurs? How do you go about handling that? How do you really be able to take all options and be ready for them? You're never going to be ready for everything, but if you can keep emotionally distant and just take things as they come, then it'll work out fine. And you also have to be ready for things completely going wrong and you not knowing what to do about it. But if you can stay steady emotionally and just drift along with it and go, okay, what's next? What's the next adventure? I remember one example when I was on the receiving end of this. I lost a job that I did not see coming. I did not see myself being fired from this job. But the one thing I did was I just kept calm about it. I said, well, there's got to be a reason for it, and there's got to be something else coming next. And I didn't sit around and wait for it. I started mapping out all the different options, all the different places. I lost my job at the same time while losing where I was living. So it was a fun situation, because I got to, okay, well, where am I going to be living? You know, do I keep living here? Do I live in a different town? Where would be the best place to go? And this was actually the situation that led to me going into business full time. So I had owned a business for a number of years, but it was always a part-time deal. This was my chance to be able to do it full-time. So I said, okay, well, I'm going to do it full-time. What are all the pieces involved in here? And in that process, all these things came to me. But I don't think I would have been able to handle those things properly, or would have been ready for them. And I don't even know if they would have come to me if I would not have handled the situation just with easy going. Just whatever, we're going to deal with whatever happens. Whatever comes to me, I'm going to deal with it. And because of that, I ended up with a great roommate in a great situation, ended up with my business, ended up with the employer that fired me. I ended up hiring them back on as a client in a very short period of time, which I could not have seen coming at all, but it happened. And all these things all worked out perfectly there's no way I could have planned for it, but because I was calm about it, it all worked out perfectly. And it's also good advice to offer your partner. You know, say, hey, I know this isn't what you wanted. I know this didn't work out the way we wanted it to, but it's going to work out best for both of us, and anything I can do to help. And you just be open and honest and just put it out there, and you may not get a good response back, but let that be their problem. Don't let it be yours. It's just a little bit of advice for something I've gone through on all ends of the spectrum. And there's no way to win by getting angry, vengeful, upset, playing the victim game. There's no way to win. There's no way to win. No matter what, you set yourself up as a loser from the very beginning, and you can't win until you get out of that mentality. So hopefully that helps. That's all I got for tonight. Go check out my content marketing training. It's the first one in a series that we're going to be coming out with this next year. Oh boy, we're going to have a whole lot coming out. A lot of plans, a lot of things laid out, and we're lining it up for you. So it's going to be exciting. But if you just want to know whether content marketing is even right for you or not, you want to get that question answered, go to contentmarketingquestion.com. You'll be able to check out my training there, contentmarketingquestion.com. That's all I've got for tonight. We'll see you tomorrow. In the meantime, get out there and let the magic happen.